Follow the arrows, follow the signs, follow the cars to Cash Ambergy's Bargain Barn in South Lebanon, Ohio, where you save cash with cash. Now, I'm not a financial guru. This is just the way that I live. But before you assume that cash is out of date, look at the businesses that still operate in cash and why customers prefer that. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you about a company that's been in business for 71 years, and they take cash only. And they are one of the most successful businesses in this city. Why cash? Cash just doesn't get you a lower price. It gives you the power to negotiate. It gives you the power to negotiate a price on something that you want. Let's look at the businesses that use cash and you could negotiate with. Used car lot, contractor, furniture, independent auto mechanic. The list goes on. If you know a business that just operates on cash, leave it in the comments. I'd be interested in knowing that. Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing that. Let's take a used car. Now, the big car lots are not going to do this. The big car lots make their money off of financing vehicles. It's just the way it is. Used to you be able to pay cash and save money. Those days are long gone. But independent dealers, the small dealers, or maybe your neighbor has a car and they're going to sell it. You need a car for your son, for school, maybe a second car, and you want to pay about $6,000. So if you can find your neighbor or a person that's selling their grandpa's car or something like that, that's a good car. If you have that money in cash, you have the power to negotiate a lower price. And a lot of times on these vehicles, when people price them, they price them high and they'll go down to a certain amount. Everybody knows that for the most part. Even a dealer, if you find a small dealer that has to move a vehicle, he has a car that you want, and he has a price on it, say of $7,000. You know you can get it for $6,000. If you know how to talk and really know how to negotiate, and if he has to move it, you could probably get it for less. I've done it time and time again, and it's always worked for me. And the way I do it is, whoever gives me the money first gets the vehicle. I don't hold them, don't do anything, and that works for me. So you could do that with an auto dealer. Contractors. Say you're having work done in your house, whether it's heating and air, electric, plumbing. A person comes to your house, a service guy. The first question I ask them a lot of times, if they're by themselves, do you do this on the side? And most of the time they'll say, I do. And most companies will allow their workers to do side work. They just will. And they'll say, well, what do you got? And then you tell them, and well, take my number and give me a call. You do that. So what happens, you hook up with these people, you arrange a time, they come over and do what you need done on the weekend, and what you'll find is you'll get that done for about half price. It always has been that way for me. And you can do that with any independent contractor. Furniture stores. Everybody knows this. Furniture has more of a markup than most things on the market. When you go in, they'll give you a 10% discount right off the bat. You say, I'm going to pay cash, and they'll probably go up to 20%. And if you're hard pressed and you really push them, a lot of times they'll go to 25%. That's not a bad deal. And you remember that using cash doesn't mean you have to have access. You don't have to have that money in your pocket. You just have to have quick access to it. Maybe you got it in a checking account and you can write a check. But you're going to avoid the credit. You're just paying cash. And people want cash. And most everybody likes cash. They do. You can go to a, say on the older car that you bought for that good price that you just paid, you know, you got a deal, but you find out in a month it needs brakes. Now, you're not going to take it to a dealer. I wouldn't advise taking it to a dealer. So where do you go? Do you go to these kind of like chain mechanic shops, you know, like, I don't want to mention them. I don't want to mention them on this video, but you know what I'm talking about. Or do you go to an independent person, If you go to an independent garage and you say, hey, I need a brake job in this car, and he said, well, that's going to be $800. Well, I don't want to spend over $7, so this is not going to work. 9 times out of 10, they'll say, oh, okay, I'll do it for $725. Anyway, you're going to save money just by that negotiation. I mean, that's just the way it is. Even doctors and dentists have this plan they call self-pay cash plan. And it's for people that don't have insurance. Because if you go to the doctor and you don't have insurance, they're not going to turn you away. If you say you're going to pay cash, how much is it going to be? And for an example, the cash that you pay, it could be like $200 for a service. So if you pay cash, and like I say, you don't have to have the cash in your pocket, you just need to have access to it, then they may drop that from 200 down to like 120. Now, how does this benefit them? They don't have to, they've cut the middleman out, so they don't have to wait for the insurance company to issue the check to the doctor's office. They get immediate access to that. It makes sense. I would do that. And a dentist will do the same thing. What they'll do, say you had to have a tooth pulled, you walk into the dentist office and you enter into this negotiation the same way. I need this done, I don't have insurance, how much you charge me? And if they say full price, you're at the wrong dentist, because they are also going to eliminate that middleman and give you a better price for that. That's the way it works. How much cash should you carry on your body? Now remember, I said you don't have to have cash on your person, although I believe that people should carry a certain amount of cash with them. You just need to have access to cash, so you don't have to charge things that you buy. And anytime you can negotiate anything, it's worthwhile because it's going to save you money. Now, I told you I was going to tell you about this company, one of the most successful companies in Indianapolis, I think, small companies. It's called Long Donuts. They've been in business for 71 years, and it's a world-known bakery. And I'll tell you why it's world-known. Because of the Indianapolis 500, when the race teams come here, when the people come here, they come from all over the world. And Long's Donuts has a presence out there. Not so much the drivers because they're health conscious, but I'm thinking some of them do. But the crews, the people, everyone, they're always going to Long's Donuts. And they only take cash. They will not speak of any other method of payment. So why is that? What do they do with that money? It's none of our business. It is none of our business what they do with all that cash. But if you go down there on a Saturday evening, because that's a busy time for them because everybody's getting donuts for Sunday morning, you know how that works. It is so crowded and that line is so long to get in there, it's amazing. And think about it, 71 years, cash only. Now all the people that have trouble spending cash and they're moving towards a cashless society, somehow they managed to get the cash to go to Long's Donuts. I just think that that's kind of amusing. I like to end these videos on a good note, and that is a good note. If you got anything from this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share. Remember, take care of your body, do what you say, and everybody can be nice.